Good morning, Dopey, and welcome to Good Morning, Dopey, our deep yet shallow dive into the daily reflections. However, and I'm Dave, I'm also joined by unlicensed advice columnist, strung-out author, elite equestrian, and converted Jew and pro-kvetcher, Aaron Kvetching Carr. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Now, we're also joined by Dopey YouTube producer and king of pain, Howard Beach Bucksbaum. Now, Howard, I know that the Daily Reflection is supposed to be a spiritually enlightened place, and I don't think that Aaron is aware of this. I just noticed something on Twitter, a bunch of things about Ellen DeGeneres.
Okay.
Like, what's the hubbub? Why do people hate Ellen DeGeneres?
I think there's been a lot of controversy.
She treats people, allegedly treats people poorly on her staff. I actually have a good Ellen DeGeneres story. It's not that good, but...
Do you think I'm going to get canceled for treating Howard badly? He's on my staff, and I treat him terribly.
Maybe.
Howard? Howard, anything to say about this?
Yes. I think you're going to get canceled by me.
You're going to cancel me?
Yeah.
All right. Now, what's your Ellen DeGeneres story?
So this is like back in the 90s. This is like early to mid 90s. She had already had like that show where she like came out and everything. I worked in a boutique in LA, and it was like a Sunday. It was Easter Sunday, and we were closing early on Easter. She came in like towards the end of the day and was like with her girlfriend at the time, who was not a famous person, or at least I didn't know who her girlfriend was, and shopping. But we kept the store open for like almost an hour. And then I kind of like said something like, oh, we're going to need to ring you up because everybody's anxious to go home. And she like yelled at me. And I was like,
what'd she say?
I don't even remember. This was like 1993 or something.
She said, who are you to give advice to people?
She was like really super rude. And she's like, I'm going to take as much time as I want to take or something like that. And then her girlfriend was like apologizing. And it stuck out in my head. And I think I like finally was like, well, I'm like, you can either like pay for this stuff now or just leave. And I was really bitchy back to her. And then they ended like, I think she left, her girlfriend paid for the stuff. I can't really, or she paid and then left. She did buy the stuff, but she was so unnecessarily rude, and everyone had been really nice to her. And she wasn't even that famous at the time. My point is that like in my life, when I worked in boutiques in LA, and then when I worked as a stylist, I worked with a lot of celebrities, some huge celebrities, and most of them, the vast majority, very, very nice. She was so rude that it always stuck out in my head. So when the stuff started coming out about how she was treating people who work for her, it didn't surprise me at all because she was like that in 1993. So I never really liked her after that because of that.
Howie, does this make this video a hot take video? You're always looking for hot takes.
This is a hot take.
All right.
This is Aaron's hot take.
Aaron's hot take.
Hot take.
Yeah. All right. So today, could be good for, what's her face? Ellen DeGeneres. Letting go of our old selves.
Oh.
Carefully reading the first 5 proposals, we ask if we have omitted anything, for we are building an ark through which we shall walk, a free man at last. Are we now ready to let God remove us all these things which have admitted are objectionable? The 6th step is the last preparation step. Although I have already used prayer extensively, I have made no formal request of my higher power. Oh, shit. I think we did this one with Jay.
What day was it?
4th.
I think so.
All right, we're going to start over. Sorry, Dopey Nation.
Okay.
We're going to start the video over because we did all that brilliant hot take on Ellen DeGeneres. We're not going to lose that. What do you think, I'm crazy? We're just going to go to the next page.
So it's June 5th.
Now it's June 5th. Sorry.
Okay, so I'll probably be getting discharged from the hospital.
What day do you go into the hospital?
June 3rd.
You allowed to say that?
Why not?
Does she want to talking about that?
She just said it. I didn't say it.
I don't care.
You have to get permission.
Dopey Nation, thoughts and prayers, flowers, money, gifts. Send it to Ask Aaron Carr via dopeypodcast@gmail.com. Please leave it in the comments if you're concerned about Aaron. I know I am. We're worried that she's going to lose that beautiful voice. Anyway, you ready? June 5th. And I think the curtain just came back. They know now that I don't do this every day. How could I let this happen? All right, here we go. June 5th. entirely ready. Howie, who are you texting? What are you doing over there?
I'm taking notes of when the fucking thing ended so that I could edit it out.
Why, you're going to edit that out? And you're going to
Christ.
edit this out too?
No, this part I'm going to leave in.
Okay. Entirely ready. This is the step that separates the men from the women. No, from the boys.
Not allowed to say that.
Women love that stuff. The difference between the boys and the men is difference between striving for a self-determined objective and for the perfect objective, which is of God. It is suggested that we ought to become entirely willing to aim toward perfection. The moment we say, no, never, our minds close against the grace of God. See, you've already lost God because it said from the men and the boys and not the women from the girls, right?
My God has nothing to do with being a man or a boy.
I know. So, like, should I reread this in a more culturally...
No, just read what's there and then we'll talk about it.
It is suggested that we ought to become entirely willing to aim toward perfection. The moment we say no, never, our minds close against the grace of God. This is the exact point at which we abandon limited objectives and move towards God's will for us. Am I entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character? Do I know at long last that I cannot save myself? I have come to believe that I cannot. If I am unable, if my best intentions go wrong, if my desires are selfishly motivated, and if my knowledge and will are limited, then I am ready to embrace God's will for my life. Aaron?
Okay. I know I'm like a broken record, but this is part of the problem I have with AA literature.
Aaron, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
You're like a broken fucking record over here. All right, keep going, please.
So it's so male Christian. It's really challenging for me. I can still get something out of it, but
Okay.
I think it's challenging. And I think that, I mean, I know we've talked about this before, but has anyone thought of like revising this or
we haven't talked
more...
about this, Aaron. We've talked about this ad nauseum. We've talked about this fucking every third episode. We talk about this.
But it's like, it really needs to be like, this is not like it's like the people that hold on to like the original AA literature. It's like people who are like married to the Constitution. Like,
but this isn't even the original AA literature. This is from
but
the 12 steps and 12 traditions. And then also this book was curated. Check this out. This book is from guess what year the first printing of this book came out?
The 80s?
1990. Crisscross is going to make you jump, and the Daily Reflections come out.
But is it like sanctioned by AA?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And I mean, I've read every single page in the big book more than once. It's been a long time. I still have my original big book on my bookshelf. Isn't that funny?
Right. Don't hurt yourself patting yourself on the back. What's your point? What do you get from this?
My point is that so much of the language is like exclusionary and really doesn't. I think that it puts a lot of people off. It puts me off.
Right. You've already missed the whole point. You've missed the whole point of the reading.
But part of the point of the reading is not saying never to these things, allowing yourself to be open to the possibility of accepting a higher power, open to the possibility of being willing to give up your character defects. And I'll just say this, as somebody who's got 19 years in recovery, it's not a one and done, right? You're going to give up those character defects and they're going to come knocking back at the door again and again and again and again and again. And that's okay. It's not
Can I interrupt you for a second? Mm-hmm. You're a very smart person. It's like the amount of things that go in your head at the same time. I'm gobsmacked. You can be on a pulpit against, male-dominated culture and antiquated kind of language, and at the same time, you're ready to go on the reading. I think that's impressive.
Well, yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome.
That's all I need to say. Thank you. No, I mean, yes. I'm able to, my ADHD brain has some compartmentalization available. So yes, I think that like what I'm going to take from this and what I would suggest other people who also have a problem with the language to take from it is that it doesn't even matter. Like, and this is what I'll say. If you do the 12 steps and you want to do them, but you struggle with the language and the God thing and the higher power thing, it doesn't fucking matter. It just means that you're willing to know that you don't have the answer. You are willing to be like, okay, I'm willing to try this because the way that I'm doing it isn't working. And one of those things that we know when we're in recovery is that our character defects are a large part of what has prevented us from being able to sustain recovery in the past. Or, you could fill in the blank about anything. It doesn't even have to be recovery related. Happiness, healthy relationships, et cetera, et cetera. So to me, the point of this is preparing yourself to do that, giving yourself the openness and willingness to do that, which is the next step forward.
I think that's, the heading is entirely ready. I actually was stuck on steps 6 and 7 for a long time because I wasn't ready to have my to even ask to have. I wasn't entirely ready to have my character defects removed for whatever reason. I was scared, which is a character defect in itself. And then your other point, which is something that I totally agree with, that I can ask in the morning to have my character defect removed, and maybe from 6:20 to 6:22 it's gone, but 6:23 I'm sowing the seeds of it, and by 6:29 I'm fearful and angry and jealous and want to kill Howie. It's like, so where does that leave us? It's where it leaves us in a spiritual place. What people in my meeting say, who are far more spiritual than I. They say you can pray more than once a day, And
exactly. Or you could, and the other thing, if you're not a prayer person, you don't have to be a prayer person to get recovery. You don't have to be a prayer person to do the 12 steps. You can look at it as meditation. So for me, the shit I struggle with over and over and over and over again is my need to control. I need to control things. I need to control things. I need to control things. And that always puts me out of control. And I feel anxious when I don't have control, which is sucky because the majority of things in life I don't have control over. And this is something that, so if I notice that I'm having friction in my life because of my need to control, or if I'm having a hard time with my children because of my need to control, instead of giving them the space to learn something, then I take a minute, and I don't pray on it. I take a minute and kind of meditate on it. And I'm like, okay, you know what this is. And because I have 19 years of practicing this, I can go to that very quickly. So many times a day, I take a minute and recognize when I'm trying to control something and just kind of let it go.
Either way, it's about taking a moment away from the defect.
100%.
And letting, God is a word, letting the universe touch your brain and remind you of who you are and what you're doing in a meditative moment, or asking for it in a prayer moment. But they're two sides of the same coin.
You don't even have to know who you're praying to pray, is the other thing that I say. You don't have to pray to God. You can just pray and say, I need this, please show me how to let go of this. Or you don't have to know who you're praying to, because it could be, we don't know. God could just be this one section of your brain that we don't have access to consciously. So whatever it is, you just do it.
It's about submission.
So much about it. I don't like that word. I think it's not about submission. It's about acceptance. It's like accepting, number one, accepting that you have the character defect, which is challenging in and of itself. And then number two, accepting that letting go of that character defect, even if it's just for that, to get through that next hurdle, is going to serve you. So I think it's
I think that's true. I think the act of submission is the act of humility, and it's taking your need to control out of the equation. It's taking a step back.
Yeah.
It's and they're just words. If you don't I just think you don't like to be submissive in anything. I think it's a word that can be a humbling word, but acceptance is the phrase that pays, 100%. Acceptance.
I like
is
humility.
everything.
I like acceptance. I just don't like submission. Makes me think it just makes me think of S&M.
I know. I think that's why I think that's why I enjoyed saying it.
Because really you just want some woman in high heels to beat you.
No, I want them to, I just, listen, I'm not into high heels and I'm really not into a beating, but I do like the word submission. I think there's something. Howie, does the word submission arouse you? What arouses you more, Chipotle or submission?
Chipotle.
Neither word is arousing.
All right, thanks, Hal.
Yeah,
that was really great. That was
You
really
asked me a
terrific.
stupid question. I'm giving you a stupid answer.
All right, that's great. Okay, I'm gonna here. Come back in, Howie. You just kick yourself out. Put yourself back in. So, what do you think is more arousing, submission or the word submission or nipple?
Nipple
I'm just asking a question.
submission or
Submission
nipple
or
is
anus?
more-
Which one is more arousing to you? All right, enough. Okay, get out. I'm sorry. I apologize. All right, I think this is important. I struggle with character defects, and I struggle with self-centered fear. I struggle with self-centeredness in general. I like to take a moment. I do the same thing. I meditate also, and when it's really bad, I also pray. So I think we covered the basis on this. And
I think so too.
And I like submission. I just like the word. I think I don't know. There's something spicy about it to me.
All right.
What do you think about the Dopey shirt? I never wear Dopey merch. Have you noticed that?
You always wear dope. What are you talking about?
When do I
Are you,
wear
are
Dopey
you
merch?
joking?
When I always wear Katz's merch.
Oh, but you usually have a dopey hat on. I guess that's
I do.
what I'm thinking
I
of.
never wear a Dopey hat. Never. I wear the Knicks hat and the Katz's hat. Never the Dopey hat.
Are you sure?
I've never worn the Dopey hat.
You're
Speaking
not
of which, you want to see the new Dopey hat?
Yes. Wait, are you fucking with me? Do you really? I feel like you are often wearing dopey merch.
Never. Sometimes I wear the
That's
incognito Dopey Knicks shirt, or sometimes I'll wear the Dopey. What other Dopey shirt do I wear, Howie? No, that's it. Just the Knicks one.
I guess so.
I always wear
Wow.
Katz's gear. You know why I wear Katz's gear? Because I know exactly how I look in it, and I don't have to think about how I look. You ready for the new thing? There's only 24 of these, Aaron. The new Dopey Big Bird
Ooh,
snapback
nice.
with Dopey
Very
Nation
nice.
on the back. 24. This
I like
is the
it.
navy, or I think they're all navy. The navy looks good. Navy's classic.
Yeah, I like the navy.
Then we also have. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Check this out, Aaron. Check this out. Ask Aaron Carr. Howie, give me that keychain back. It's up there. It's in front of the Roadcaster. I hear some kind of horrible buzz. You hear that?
Nope.
Check this out. Here, can you go close, Hal? The new Dopey Buddha keychain.
Ooh, I like that.
Now,
That's very
I'm
cool.
thinking if you're a patron, I'm thinking of setting up the $15 patron tier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get access to some goodies, and maybe this will be exclusive. Maybe I don't know. I always say it'll be exclusive, but then it isn't. Check it out. If you join up for the $15 patron tier, you can write your own ticket. You tell me what you want, and I give it to you. What do you think about that? Ask Aaron Carr.
I think that's a good idea. I think you should ask the people what they want.
Howard, catch. He caught it so smoothly last time. All right. That's enough of the daily reflection. Stay strong, Dopey Nation. Thank you, Aaron. And thank you, Howard. And fucking toodles for Chris.
Toodles.
Dopey, I'm face down on the floor. Dopey, please sir, can I have some more? Dopey.